Stephen Carroll's here with the business news. No insects. You've been looking at banks, Greek banks, not surprisingly.
No, I'm sure there's a metaphor to be made there, but I'm going to avoid it for fear of offending somebody. We're talking about the banks, of course, that have been closed since Monday, with the exception of the branches which opened on Wednesday for pensioners to withdraw 120 euros of their pension if it had been paid, of course. But the banks narrowly avoided another cash crisis when the European Central Bank decided to keep its emergency funding for the lenders in place. Now, there had been speculation that because Greece is now without any international funding, the ECB might ask for more collateral from the banks for the 89 billion euros in emergency liquidity loans that they've given them. That would have been a request that would have been difficult for those banks to meet. Greece's lenders say they have enough cash to last them until next week. Finance Minister Yanis Varoufakis praised the ECB for not giving in to what he called the hawks.
This allows us to breathe. It's a very positive move, and a move of goodwill on the part of the European Central Bank. I welcome it, and I think that we, as a people, can proceed calmly toward the referendum and decide whether or not we'll stay in the euro. Greece is and will remain in the eurozone. But whether the best way to stay in the eurozone is to agree with what we believe is the non-viable solution they propose to us, or a solution that we're proposing which is viable, calculated and completely moderate.
That's the Greek Finance Minister Yanis Varoufakis speaking there. Interestingly, in the past few minutes, he said that Greece's government may well resign if there's a yes vote in the referendum. That being reported by the AFP news agency. We'll move on, though, with a look at what's happening on the markets this morning. European shares had gotten a big boost in trading yesterday as we had hopes that there could be a new efforts for a deal. Of course, that didn't work out in the end, but the market still traded up. And today they're opening pretty flat, as you can see across the board. Slight gains there in Paris and in Frankfurt. Over in Asia, it wasn't Greece that was worrying investors, more things close to home that was helping trading. You can see the Nikkei in Tokyo there up almost 1%. Shanghai down again over 4%. Shanghai has seen huge losses over the past couple of weeks. It's down about 25% in the past 3 weeks. This to do with a flood of new IPOs that are going to be happening on the market there that's causing concerns about liquidity in the market. But everyone else, as you can see, seeing slight gains.
Thanks, Stephen. Well, as we mentioned in the news bulletin, we've been sweltering in 40 degrees heat, but there is some good news that you've got for some businesses.
Yes, that's right. Well, if you've got a way to keep people cool, you're very popular in France these days. If you've tried to buy an air conditioner or a fan in this city, they're very hard to find, I can tell you. Many shops sold out. But companies that make products like cooling systems for terraces say they can't keep up with demand. Oliver Farry reports.
Spray mist bottles. A quick way to beat the heat that fits in your handbag. In the southern French spa town of Avennes-les-Bains, 25 million of these spray bottles are produced every year, a rate of 1 per second. They'll soon be sold in 110 countries, with sales of 4 million in France alone. During the French heatwave of 2003, sales of the brand surged 30%. This week, the company's staff are ready to step up production again.
The factory in the spray production unit is working in shifts 5 days a week, and we're prepared to go to a 7-day week to meet demand if need be.
While there's no shortage of stocks just yet, demand is expected to be very high. The atomizer sprays come in all shapes and sizes, including those used on cafe terraces. At this company in the town of Sète, which produces them, the phone has been hopping.
There are people from Paris and elsewhere who are asking for deliveries by the weekend, which is impossible because we need time to assemble it and deliver. There are others from nearby who say they can come pick it up, but we can't help them either because we're out of stock for hire.
For businesses that can offer customers a comforting respite from the torrid afternoon sun, the expense is worth it. If that is, they've been quick enough to get their orders in on time.
Some more of the day's business headlines for you now. The US Justice Department is investigating whether airlines have been working together illegally to keep prices high. It's written to the major carriers asking how they decide the number of seats to sell on flights and who they share that information with. The Associated Press news agency says the inquiry is focusing on whether the airlines illegally told each other how quickly they would add new routes and flights. And Facebook is to start sharing advertising revenue with those who create videos for the site. It's a deal that mirrors YouTube's relationships with its users, where publishers get just over half of the proceeds. Facebook has been advancing into YouTube's territory for some time. More than 4 billion videos reviewed on the site in the first 3 months of this year.
And finally, we've of course been following this story of the crowdfunding site that's raising money for Greece. How's it going?
It's now over 1.2 million euros people have pledged for Greece. That's over the past 5 days, but the figure's actually doubled in the past 24 hours. This was from a little earlier today. It's up close to 1.27 million now. So there has been a fairly significant move. This is the man who set it up. He's a British man called Tom Feeney. He said he was fed up over the dithering by politicians over Greece, which is why he started the site. Now, in exchange, you can either make a donation or you can buy things for certain amounts in the site. For €3, you can get a postcard of Alexis Tsipras.
Oh, nice.
For €10, a bottle of ouzo. And it goes all the way up. You can make a €5,000 payment for a trip to Athens, if you like, as well.
A trip to Athens for €5,000.
Yeah, the target is 1.6 billion, which means, of course, if you don't get to the target, people end up getting their money back in the end. So they're still quite a far way off.
Okay. All right, well, it's a nice idea anyway. Thanks, Stephen. Well, we're going to